Hello and welcome to today's the Times the Customs video. A look at the absurdities of modern life and how we all deal with them, usually from the cockpit of a works van on the Isle of Man. Last video I gave you a good view of the brick wall. We are still here. This is because it is a pretty poor day here, and despite all good intentions of going to do some work, I and seemingly the rest of the island's population are suffering from a pretty extensive lack of enthusiasm for doing anything other than sat around, lounging in front of the telly, down the pub, that sort of thing. That is not too untypical of people's attitudes on the island, it has to be said. So I thought I'd do another quick video. So linking into that is the idea of busyness being a status symbol and our lack of empathy with our fellow human beings. We are totally obsessed with our own busy lives and how important we are. Even the merest inconvenience with regards to interfering with that busyness can send us into a tailspin of aggressive, selfish behaviour. I find it all rather tragic and sad, but I am self-employed, therefore I can work around it. I do not need to be in a office for 8 or 9 p.m. on the AM, even on the dot. So therefore I can't really criticise the likes of the people who are stood around on a train platform 7:30 AM somewhere in commuter belt home counties, facing a day's work of multi-million-pound deals, only to hear the dreaded announcement that their train is being cancelled because of a suicide on the line. Now this is where the lack of empathy comes in, and I have an issue with. I would like to think that I would take it better than most of the self-important city workers do. I fear that such are the levels of outrage I have experienced on my rare jaunts to that part of the world, whenever inconvenience occurs. I think we are not that far away from a commuter fight back, I fear. I envisage some sort of group being formed by the highly paid commuting professionals, who then make it their business to find out exactly who the suicide jumper was. I would imagine on gaining sufficient knowledge, they would then form a web page complete with a picture devoted to the selfish bastard who jumped on the line and ruin their day. For example, the website would show a big picture of the person. We will call him Pete Timmins, for example. Underneath would be the caption, "This is Pete Timmins, the selfish swine that jumped in front of the 7:43 Southern Railway's London Bridge train, causing untold disruption to many hundreds of passengers' days." And then in big writing, possibly some sort of GIF or animation, I would envisage some sort of real sort of hard-hitting message along the lines of "Pete Timmins, so glad he's dead." I can then see them moving on to leafleting every station in London with the same message, just to really round home the point. What a selfish bastard he was indeed. They would then attend his funeral. They would go on to tell the family what a selfish swine he was, and in order to back up the statement, they would produce a professional quality flowchart showing how much time and money he had cost both them personally and society at large by committing suicide. They would then conduct a presentation at the graveside with the flowchart showing a graph of time and money and a decreasing line to a sobbing family. I could imagine they would finish by gifting the family with a small booklet containing his more, shall we say, self-centered posts from a depression internet forum which he was a member of. and I can see this happening day in, day out for anyone who commits suicide on a railway line anywhere in Britain that disrupts these so-called self-important yuppies. Now, as I say, I do not have to be in a office for 8 AM and be on it straight away, knowing that any mistake could possibly cost the company millions. I have avoided that type of lifestyle, so I cannot judge those who behave in this way. If I was to put myself in their position, I probably would support them, despite my protestations in this video. I would probably laugh and say the inconsiderate bastard deserved it. I therefore cannot get on any moral bandwagon about this type of thing, and I will leave it at that.